this story takes place in my second year of college. Me and a bunch of friends had just moved into this rental house in Bellingham. And like anyone who's rented a house in a college town knows that they're all like pieces of crap, just like drafty, and things are broken, and they're all old houses, especially in Bellingham because it's a pretty old town. And my roommate, one of my roommates, would always bring home pets. Like he had the 2 lizards and was talking about getting ferrets, which he got a couple years later. So anyway, one day I come home and he's like, Nick, come upstairs and look at this. And I came upstairs and he's got a big iguana in a sort of a like fabric mesh cage. And I was like, you got an iguana? And he's like, yeah, and I named him Freedom, Liberty, Pain. And I was like, awesome. I was like, as long as you feed him and clean up the shit, like, I don't care. And that was kind of everyone's mentality in the house, was as long as you feed him and clean up the shit. And when iguana's shit, I don't know if anyone has had an iguana or knows what iguana shit looks like. It's kind of, it looks like bird poop, but times like 1,000. Like it's like 2, if you like cracked open 2 eggs, that's about how big an iguana shit is. And it's white, and it has like the white of the yolk and also the white bird shitty part, about that big. And this iguana, for the most part, they had 2 of the roommates, Ian, who owned the iguana, and another one, David, had an adjoining walk-in closet that they shared, and they just kind of sectioned off part of that and made it into kind of an enclosure for him. Put a heat lamp in it and some food. But for the most part, he just kind of roamed around the house free, and sometimes we would have to pull, because iguanas will eat just about anything that's green, because they think it's food. They're not very smart. So he would like try and eat blankets or green pillows and that sort of thing, and we just had to kind of pull it out of his mouth and give him some real food. So one day my roommate David is playing video games, and Freedom is on his chest while he's playing video games in a recliner chair. And he's finished playing, and he sets down the controller and picks Freedom up, and as he does, he notices it looks like Freedom's starting to poop. So he rushes him outside and sets him in the grass and like just kind of leaves him there, and like Freedom doesn't really move or do anything. And he's like, gosh, that's kind of weird. And so he picks him up, and like the poop's still kind of hanging out, so he's like, gosh, I don't even know what to do. So he goes inside and gets a butter knife and starts trying to scrape it off, but it's not scraping. Right about this time, my roommate Jim came home, and he was a biology major. And now like there's a start of a poop thing and like a little leafy thing hanging out.
Oh God.
And he's like, Jim goes, gosh, that doesn't really look like iguana poop. And David's like, yeah, I guess I'd never really thought about that. And like Jim starts to look at it closer. He's like, it sort of looks like a hand and a head. And we're like, and so they like start doing some research on the internet and stuff. And they now think that Freedom is not actually a boy but a girl and was pregnant. And we're like, whoa, that was unexpected. And so this was like kind of in a period when like not everyone had cell phones, and when you called someone on their cell phone, it was usually like an emergency or something, or you needed to get a hold of them right then. And so they called me, and I was at a friend's house like watching a movie, and they're like, Freedom's having a baby, and we think that it's stillborn. And I was like, oh my gosh. And like then like it starts running through my head like how drafty our house is, and how lizards are cold-blooded, and like how we hardly ever feed it, and like what a bunch of shitty, irresponsible college kids we are. And so like I was like, do you want me to come home right now? And they're like, no, don't come, just come home as soon as you're done with the movie. And so like I sat there and watched this entire movie. I don't even remember what movie it was, but all I could think about was Freedom and how he's having a stillborn and how irresponsible I am. Because if someone should have, like someone could have taken care of this. I was around the house, I could have taken care of this. And so as soon as the movie's done, I rush right home, and like apparently all of our roommates have been called, so they all are congregated in the house, and it was rare to have everyone there because this is like a 6-person house, and so we're all like watching Freedom, and when I was driving home, I was like, wait a minute, don't lizards have eggs? And so I got home and I was like, wait, hold on a second, guys. Lizards lay eggs. And they're like, no, actually we called a vet. And I was like, and they called a vet, and there's this very rare condition where an egg can become fertilized inside of a lizard. And they usually are stillborn. And it's very rare, but it does happen on occasion. And so I was like, oh my gosh. So this just confirms all my suspicions about us being irresponsible college kids. And so the vet says, make Freedom comfortable, wait for about an hour, and if it still doesn't come out, pull it out. And they're like, if you have to, use pliers. And so we wait around for about an hour, and nothing really happens. It doesn't move at all. And so we're like, okay, well, who's gonna pull it out? And Jim, the biologist, volunteers too, because we figure he has the most experience with this sort of thing. And so me and Ian come downstairs, and Ian was my roommate in the dorms, and we were pretty close. And I just remember us sitting there and trying, like, everything not to talk about this that's happening right upstairs from us. And we're just like, it was so awkward, and we just both felt like absolutely terrible. And so Jim pulls it out, and Jim and Brett are in the bathroom, and he's like, okay, I'm gonna wash it off and then bury it in the backyard. And we're like, okay. So he's washing it off on the back, and Brett goes, what's it feel like? And Jim's like, it's a lot different than I thought it would be. It doesn't feel like it has any bones. And gosh, Brett's like, gosh, that's so weird. And like, he's washing it off, and he cleans off the backside, and then turns it over and starts cleaning off the belly. And he like stops, and he kind of looks at it, and he rubs it a little bit more, and then they just start bust up laughing. And like, we hear this downstairs, and I'm like, what the hell? And we run upstairs, and they hold up the iguana, and it says, or the little baby iguana, and it says made in China. It was a green lizard that my roommate David had just laying around the house, and Freedom found it and decided, because it was green, it was probably food, so he would try and eat it. But we still felt like pretty irresponsible, shitty college kids. But yeah, that's the story.
Awesome.